CASA. It stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates. They step in to help a child whose life at home is tough. Through volunteers, they're able to step in and change a child's story. And from CASA, we are joined today by Jenny Bender and Lindsay Learman. It's such a pleasure to have you ladies on the show today.
Oh, thank you so much for having us.
Yes, and great to see you again. I'd like to know a little bit more about the CASA programs.
Sure. So CASA stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates. They're specially trained volunteers to represent the best interests of children who, at no fault of their own, have experienced abuse and neglect and find themselves in an unknown foster care system or child welfare system.
Yeah.
And CASA is the only program that empowers volunteers to actually be sworn-in officers of the court.
That's wonderful. I love that. And CASA has been around for a long time,
Right.
Doing good work in our community. I understand that there are 18 different CASA programs.
There are in Colorado and over 950 programs in the nation.
Wow.
And in Colorado, we have 18 programs who advocated for the best interests of children in the child welfare system. 4,800 children last year received advocacy from a CASA volunteer. So the impact is huge. And we have 5 programs right here in the Denver metro area. And we encourage people who are interested to find the program that's in their own backyard, in their own community, maybe where they live or work or play.
And you did mention that it is volunteer focused and volunteer heavy. These are folks who are making a big impact in a child's life. And can you talk a little bit more about what they're doing?
Sure. So volunteers go through 30 hours of pre-service training, and they advocate for children in the areas of education, mental health, physical health, for their permanency and safety and well-being, because these children are in search of a safe and permanent home, and CASA volunteers put their best interests right front and center before the judge.
That's so fantastic. Lindsay, now you're the director of one of the 5 Metro CASA programs that's in Adams and Broomfield counties.
Correct.
And you're watching these volunteers really changing children's lives all the time. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So my program covers the 17th Judicial District, and one of the stories, we have many great success stories, but one story that comes to mind is an advocate, Charlene, and a CASA youth, Jewel, that just are phenomenal. Jewel entered into the dependency neglect system when she was just 15 years of age due to a traumatic incident. And Charlene came onto her case a little bit later and just really championed for her and provided that voice that she needed in the courtroom. She gathered all this information, and she really was, Charlene's background is she's a retired teacher. And so she gave Jewel all of that context that she needed, and Jewel is now 21 years old, and she is in college and just thriving, and she's just a phenomenal young woman.
What a wonderful story, and so rewarding to see that, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and as Jenny said, you know, it's volunteers, but it's also donations. So how can folks make donations to ensure that these volunteers are available to provide these programs for more success stories?
Absolutely. There's a variety of ways, of course, going to the CASA website and donating that way, but we have an upcoming fundraising event that we also do, and that's really to recruit more volunteers and for donations. But as you can see, it's a Light of Hope fundraising luncheon. It's on Tuesday, October 15th. Check-in starts at 11:30, and the program runs from 12 to 1 p.m. We will highlight a CASA youth, a CASA volunteer. It'll be informational, but just also rewarding to hear the stories of the difference a CASA volunteer can make.
Absolutely, and it sounds like, Jenny, that volunteers are really making a big impact, you know, not only for the child, for themselves, but for the community, and the donations go a long ways. You've got this Light of Hope that's coming up. That's an important fundraising event, isn't it?
Right, and all 5 Denver Metro programs actually have events this fall. So you can go to coloradocasa.org to find out the event that's in your own backyard, your own community.
Yeah, so all throughout the fall then. There'll be different ones at different times. Excellent. Okay, so, and then you're continuing to take volunteers?
Yes, we need more CASA volunteers desperately in Colorado. As I mentioned earlier, we have 18 programs, and we're organized through judicial districts. And those 18 programs were able to advocate for over 4,800 children, but 13,000 children last year in Colorado experienced abuse and neglect. We have programs that have waiting lists. And can you imagine seeing a case come across your desk and thinking, this child is going to get a CASA volunteer and this one is not?
Oh, yeah.
So the time is now. We need more volunteers. And to be a volunteer, we just ask that you're 18 years or older, that you pass a background check, and you can get plugged into one of our local CASA programs.
Okay.
And they will walk you through all of the training. You'll go through an interview, and then you become a sworn-in officer of the court, and you get your case, and you get the opportunity to make a lasting difference and a lasting direct impact in the life of a child, not just for one child, but generations to come.
Oh, it makes me smile. It's wonderful. Lindsay, if somebody's been thinking about volunteering with CASA, what would you say to them?
I would say please do so. We need, the children really need to have your voice in court representing them. And we just need so many more, like Jenny said. We have a shortage of CASA volunteers, and we would love for you to come on board, join us, and just get engaged with the program.
Oh, love it. Lindsay and Jenny, thank you. So many children relying on the programs of CASA. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Help support CASA. Consider becoming a court-appointed special advocate. CASA volunteer. You can head over to coloradocasa.org to find out all about the 5 Denver Metro CASA events happening this fall, and to find out how you become a CASA volunteer and rewrite a child's story. Visit that website.